What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of the Daily Sports Report Podcast, episode 11 to be exact. I am your host, Ian Pfaffenberger, staff writer for the North Texas Daily. We're back with the football fantastic crew here. We got sports editor Justin Na over here.
Hello,
Say hi
hello.
once again. Yes, he's back. And we got senior sports writer Haylie Stum over there as well.
I'm not in Houston this time.
Yes, she's in person.
Graphic.
We don't have to put a picture of her up for like an hour and a half this time.
Forgot about that, man.
Yes, so many news. That was not English. So much things
So many
happening.
news.
So many news. So much stuff racing through my mind. I can't even form a proper sentence. So much
true.
stuff going on. Mean Green football this week. I mean, pick your poison with these storylines, right? Neal Brown hired as head coach. American Conference Championship, American Conference Awards coming out. American Conference Championship on the horizon in 2 days from when we're recording. It'll probably be a day from when you guys are watching. Recruiting, signing day, early signing day happened today, or did it for the Mean Green? Am I right, guys? Neal Brown's Neal Brown's introductory press conference announced for this next upcoming Monday. Guys, so many things, so much time.
Where do
will
we
be spent
start?
on. Where do we start?
Oh, there's also the American Conference Championship on Friday. And then-
Oh, yeah, that determines,
That also
if
happened.
UNT
Oh,
makes
yeah.
their first
Yeah.
playoff
and
appearance
we can
in program history.
we'll be previewing that.
That's all. Yeah, that's kind of happening.
There's a football game
In between.
That's also
Everything.
that's kind of happening. Well, I'll tell you where we start. We will start with the Neal Brown hiring as head coach. Guys, have a ton of stuff about Neal Brown here. Had a great stint at Troy, amassed a 35-16 record over 4 seasons with the Trojans, led them to their first ever Associated Press top 25 ranking during the 2016 season. They finished that season 10-3, their first time with a 10-win season since joining the FBS level in 2001. Won the Dollar General Bowl over there. Had 2 more double-digit winning seasons, so very successful stint at the Group of 5 level with Troy over there. Got hired as the West Virginia head coach in 2019. Not as successful over there. Only 1 winning season. They came in 2023, pretty mid, as the kids say today. 37-35 record over 6 seasons there at West Virginia before he was fired in 2024. He spent this last season as a special assistant to Coach Sarkisian at the University of Texas at Austin Longhorns.
Wow.
So, guys, immediate reactions. We were all in the newsroom just kind of chilling. I guess not really chilling because it was busy anyway. And then that news broke.
Yeah.
Guys, first reactions to when we saw that PD Boy Tamel tweet. Justin, we'll start with you.
Sure.
What did you see? What were your initial thoughts behind this hire?
Yeah, so Neal Brown was kind of the suspected candidate among several different outlets heading into that day already. I think, not Pete Thamel, but I think Pete Nakos, different Pete, had tweeted earlier in the day that he was the leading candidate per his sources. And then obviously Pete Thamel was the one who got the final confirmation later in the day that he was actually hired to a 5-year deal to North Texas. And so I think it was kind of the leading candidate during this whole process. There was a couple other names I heard mentioned throughout the process, especially at the FCS level, especially at Incarnate Word. I always say Ward.
Wow.
Incarnate Ward.
Incarnate Word. And so there's a couple of different candidates, but I think this is the standard pick that I think everyone kind of expected. There's a relationship between Ren Baker, who's the current AD at West Virginia, and Jared Mosley, obviously, because Ren Baker was the former AD here. And that's the same reason why Ross Hodge went to West Virginia, obviously, because of that prior relationship.
So many
And
ties.
So, yeah, a lot of ties to West Virginia and North Texas, guys. So this is just adding on to that.
The guy going on over there in Morgantown, right?
Yeah,
what
yeah,
it is.
yeah, man.
Yeah.
My goodness. Morgantown.
Bagpull. I was researching this man last night. I know everything about West Virginia. So, yeah. Continue. Haylie, I guess we'll go to you. What were your initial thoughts?
Well, the thing is, there's not much to add off of what Justin said. I mean, he was the anticipated hire. At first, we thought in the newsroom, because we had like 5 different things going on, why did this happen now? But we all know why it happened now, right? Because of what today meant. You try to get someone to sign in an early signing period.
Anyone?
Not even that, but
Bit
like
of crumbs.
a little bit of crumbs. But just obviously, I don't think, unless I'm wrong, I don't think there was any anticipation for anyone signing to early signing day, but it is important to get that guy in there as soon as possible and try to do some recon work in terms of building a new program and whatnot. And honestly, I think it was the perfect time to announce. I think it's a little funny that North Texas was able to find and solidify their candidate before Penn State did, because Penn State has been without James Franklin for quite a time now.
Yeah.
And the amount of resources and connections that Big Ten program has, no offense to the Mean Green here in Denton, significantly outweighs what the Mean Green are able to do, but that proved us wrong on paper. So, yeah, no surprises here, and I'm excited to see how he continues or lack thereof this momentum.
Exactly. We'll get into Neal Brown as a coach in a second, but now that the UNT coaching horse on the carousel has wrapped up,
goodness.
Eric Morris has been hired and taken away. He's still going to coach out the remainder of the season, which is fantastic for the team. And then Neal Brown has been hired. How do y'all think this process went in a wild coaching carousel that has already partaken with so many different storylines, so much different drama with all these coaches? How do you think UNT handled it? How do you think Eric Morris handled it? How do you think Mosley handled it? How do you think it went well or bad for UNT?
I think Neal Brown is a pattern or part of a larger pattern among college football hiring decisions right now, which is hiring someone who was previously experienced. There hasn't been many coordinators hired currently. And I'm pretty sure at the G5 level, that's about the most experienced guy that was pretty much available on the market. So I think that in terms of like where UNT's hire ranks both in the G5 level and as a whole, I think it's a pretty good decision by Jared Mosley there. I think that obviously everyone was waiting for Lane Kiffin because after that decision, obviously on the Sunday afterwards, Golish got it confirmed, Silverfield got confirmed, Summerall got confirmed. Everyone essentially got announced that singular day after Florida and Auburn kind of realized that we'll probably not be able to get Lane Kiffin here. So I think that was kind of the way that everything kind of trickled down from there. I think that I obviously I think Haylie mentioned it before that Eric Morris probably could have been a candidate for those other jobs, but I think it's a good fit in terms of like his relationship with Oklahoma, being nearby to Texas, his roots in the Big 12. I think it just makes a lot of sense for him to land in that spot. And then obviously in terms of how he handled it, I think it's pretty definite at this point. I think it'd be essentially pointless to keep asking players about how they're handling everything. Yeah. And they're all pretty much all on the same page.
Media trained too.
Oh man,
shout out
they're
Doug
locked
Waters.
in. They're so
the
dialed.
Communication staff. But no, I think but truly, to their credit though, just from appearance standpoint, just from us, doing our best during press conferences, they do seem very poised. They do seem very ready for them this moment. I think it's helpful that a lot of the contributors on this team, besides obviously, Caleb, Drew, and Wyatt, are seniors, right? Cameron Dorner, who's been at the, SCS level for a while. And that offensive line is incredibly veteran group, right? And I think that's having that stable foundation for your whole team to kind of build on. Same with the defense, honestly. All those Sam Houston guys are not juniors and sophomores. Those are seniors. Trey Fields. We're talking about David Fisher and Davion Armstead both being seniors. These are guys who have played a lot of college football. They're ready for the moment. They obviously there's a kind of an initial shock factor, I think, but I think that we're far past that. I think Eric Morris did his best in terms of handling the whole situation. Obviously, he feels very bad about the news getting to them before he could give it. But I think all in all, you look back. I think Lane Kiffin's probably taking the biggest amount of heat right now in terms of the way he's handling
not even
everything.
Close.
But yeah, Haylie, what do you think?
Yeah, I think the hire. We had like two different questions asked right there. So on that first one, I think the Neal Brown hire was a great one. Obviously, he was the front runner. So again, no surprises there. But not only the amount of experience he's had, but the variety. Right? Yeah. He's had experience leading a G5 program or G6. I know it goes between 5 and 6, and we're in this like gray area of what we call them. So back in the day, it was G5 when he was at Troy, and he had success there. And then he goes to West Virginia. Like my dad likes to say, he didn't really cut the mustard there. But, he has experience at a lower P4. And then a special assistant to the head coach, I'm going to have to, like, do some research and Google on what exactly his role was. But, he's under someone who competed for the national championship last year in Steve Sarkisian and someone that is technically still in the college football playoff conversation. Who knows with how the committee's been voting right now. So I don't really – it's a little bit up in the air. But all in all, great brand of football team. So basically, you've got 3 different levels of the FBS that he's had experience at a decade of FBS head coaching experience. So I think it's the right hire, especially when you consider what the job requires out of the new North Texas head coach, right? I wouldn't have gone with someone who maybe is a head coach for the first time in this situation, although I don't think it's a bad move. For this year, I think it might have been. So I think the Neal Brown hire was the right one. What was the other question we were talking about?
Oh, we were just talking about how everything.
How do you think UNT handled it? Eric Morris, just all the people involved.
Sorry, we were like going. I'm like trying to make sure I
so
cover
many
all my
things.
bases. I think if you would have asked us Tuesday through Friday afternoon, we would have had a very different answer. And I think we answered that question on Tuesday when we had a lack of information of what was really going on. All we're seeing is a gray hoodie, a white hat, and a lot of players that found out through social media. That's all we had to base our inferences, our immediate response off of. The press conference, if you have not watched it after Temple, I highly recommend that you go back and watch it. Or if not, the NT Daily
Oh, yes.
website, and it's going to be on the in the sports section
Yes,
of this week's
yes.
paper. I would highly recommend going and reading that as well. A familiar face wrote that, and it just kind of has some important takeaways. Yes, shameless plug. Has some takeaways from what that press conference really meant and why it was the most important press conference of the year. And I really respect Eric Morris for owning up to where he thought he fell short. I think it's very often than not that we get a lot of PR responses out of not only coaches but players and people in the administration. And I don't think, unless he's fooling me, I don't think they were 100% PR answers. Obviously, there's some preparation and media training to that, but he apologized. He said he's going to have to live with the way the news came out for the rest of his life. So I appreciate the transparency, and that's something he says he values. And the players, although I don't think if there was an issue, they would have said it anyways, because that doesn't look good, but all of them have the same response, and it obviously didn't teeter in their ability to play against Temple, and I think that was everything that anyone was honestly concerned about. Everyone was more mad about how it impacts the most historic season in North Texas history. If it doesn't, then people just got to buckle up and move on. I mean, it's just the nature of the business now.
Yeah. And just the biggest takeaway from all of it, and the one point that Morris harped on all the time, is just how bad the college football calendar is for these coaches and when this carousel happens, right? I mean, it runs into early signing day that we've seen today, runs into when the transfer portal opens up, runs right into the playoff time. I mean, Lane Kiffin's not even going to be coaching Ole Miss in their playoff run, which is, I mean that sucks. It's just insane. And that's something that if this happens more often and more coaches decide to speak up, I think will become a bigger topic of discussion. Unfortunately, this is kind of a big year, and hopefully the first domino to fall in a long line of years. It is unfortunate that it all had to happen that way, but unfortunately, like you said, just the nature of the business. But now Neal Brown. Let's get into him a little bit. Before he became a head coach, offensive coordinator at Troy from 2007 to 2008, at Texas Tech from 2008 to 2012, and Kentucky from 2013 to 2014. Became the head coach at Troy following that 2014 season. Also played wide receiver. Sounds a little similar to someone we know, doesn't it? Offensive coordinator numbers. At Kentucky, he posted more than 440 yards of total offense in 3 Southeastern Conference games in 2014, the program's highest total since 2001. At Tech, the Red Raiders were ranked in the nation's top 7 teams in passing offense, top 15 in total offense, and top 25 in scoring offense. They had increased production in all 3 of those categories in every year since 2010 during his tenure. So, all that said, look, let's check some boxes here. Got a Texas Tech offensive coordinator. We got a former wide receiver. We got a guy who learned under Mike Leach in a way. He was a wide receiver at Kentucky when Mike Leach was coaching. Guys, does this sound a little similar to a certain someone who's maybe with the Mean Green right now?
Doesn't ring any bells.
Sounds like
Maybe
Morris's clone.
No, quite. I mean, I was looking at all this stuff for the breaking news that came out yesterday and writing these notes, and the more you look, it's like, oh my goodness, it's like they just went out and got Morris 2.0, and not to mention that Brown is heralded for his offensive game plan. He runs an air raid type system, not as similar as Eric Morris's. He called plays as a head coach at Troy and at West Virginia. Also, during his tenure at West Virginia, we'll get into some numbers here. Y'all ready for some numbers? Obviously we mentioned not great, 37 and 35, but here are the defensive rankings for West Virginia during the Brown era. These are the points allowed per game and total defense rankings nationally year by year. So his first year, 74th and 73rd. Second year, 22nd and 4th. Good, but we have to consider that was the COVID year. Obviously, some players sitting out, some different things happening. 2021, 44th and 37th. 2022, 116th and 98th. Not good. 64th and 68th. In 2023, which happened to be his best season at West Virginia, where he went 9-4, I think won the Duke's Mayo Bowl. Shout out Duke's Mayo Bowl.
Got dumped in Mayo.
Got dumped in Mayo. Then his last season, before he got fired, 110th and 111th in those defensive statistics. So, also a little similar to Eric Morris in a sense, where he has had some lackluster defensive seasons that have maybe diminished what could have been in terms of also where his offense relates to the team. So, interesting stuff all around to consider there. The similarities to Morris, how his defense has impacted him. Thoughts, Justin? Just about all that.
Yeah, I think the similarities are very apparent, right, guys? But I have to say, I think what's the most the special quality about Eric Morris and what he was able to do in North Texas. Obviously, the offensive numbers speak for themselves, but I think that every coach who's ever spoken about football will tell you the same things, which is that they can't coach bad players. And I think that Morris had a real knack for finding this just an abundance of high school football talent of all shapes and sizes. In almost this Moneyball sort of way where, like, you know, you bring in a 5'6" Miles Coleman who, regardless of his stature or size, can produce, right? And like those kind of figures just cross, you know, his roster. And so that's what I'm really curious about regarding Neal Brown is more so the roster building stuff. I think that obviously if Raj goes to Oklahoma State with Eric Morris, obviously they're going to have to be in the search for a new GM, which I'm pretty sure is already confirmed. So I mean, like,
Yeah.
So they're already be looking for another GM in terms of on that side of things. Obviously, yes. So the point being, there's similarities between the statistical production and whatnot. I'm really curious about his way on approaching on how to build a roster. I think that this year will kind of force his hand to kind of just do it one way, though. I don't think he has many options because of the missing the early signing period, right? So clearly now, and Jared Mosley had a tweet about it, which was like, we're now looking toward the transfer portal. We're now looking toward the February the signing day, National Signing Day, right? Those are kind of going to be your two methods to build this roster. And essentially from scratch, because I assume that the majority of the starters, the majority of the players are going to follow Morris. And so it seems like he's going to have to build his roster through one method, at least in year one. I don't think he's going to have many options, and I don't know if we'll be able to kind of tell how he likes to build his roster. Maybe small things about what types of players per position, but he's going to have limited options, and I'm excited to see how he kind of adapts in that kind of situation and environment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd argue with Jared Mosley a little bit and say the most important time is going to be that February signing period. You don't build successful rosters that sustain years through the transfer portal. You don't, because those are the guys that are most likely going to get back in it, and also you've only got them for 1 to 2 years, right? So it just doesn't make sense. Despite it being the transfer portal era and a time where change is invited, it does not invite the nature of a good roster being different. You're still going to build it through high school recruiting. So that February signing day, I don't know exactly the day. I've got 24/7, Mr. 24/7 Sports right next to me, so he can pull
Who could get it first? I typed it
I'm going
first.
to say it's the 5th.
February 4th.
Come on.
When it hits February 4th,
Yeah.
I feel like that's going to be make or break for Neal Brown, because that's going to be everyone's first look at his ability to maybe sway some guys that are on the fence, and how can you convince them to maybe go to North Texas over a lower P4 school, right? Just kind of seeing what kind of money he can pull out of a hat. And that's going to be critical to his first year at the helm. Obviously, you want to send a statement and try to keep the momentum going, although that should not be an expectation for anyone.
Setting a foundation for whatever his future is going to be, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't even argue it's the transfer portal. I'd say it's February 4th. Absolutely. And I don't know. It's going to also come down to a defensive coordinator, because you can just bet your bottom dollar that Skylar Cassidy's gone. Obviously, we haven't had any confirmation of that, but you might as well just sign, seal, deliver that to your mama, because he's going to be gone. And that was who turned it around for North Texas, right? North Texas never lacked an offense. Seems like Neal Brown, since he's Morris's clone, that's not going to be the issue. So obviously you're not going to find another Skylar Cassidy, but can you find someone that can complement your kind of style of play? I don't know, and we're going to find out.
Guys, I love where we took that question. Yes, sorry, I was really reflecting.
Our
being too
minds
meta.
are racing
No,
right now.
I love that. No, yes, I think the conclusion, though, is that, like, yeah, you can drop all the cool plays you want, but how are you really going to get the players on the field? I want to add one more caveat that I want to explore in that topic, which is, like, there are some people on this current roster that I'm not sure if they can be convinced to stay. And the first person I want to start with is someone who kind of fell out of the rotation recently, which is Mackenzie McGill, right? The guy who was really breaking out here in UNT, and I know that currently he doesn't have that much of a role where he hasn't gotten carries, right? We're talking about Ashton Gray, a redshirt freshman, getting carries over him, and obviously Kiefer Sibley getting carries over him. And so for Mackenzie to fall out of favor with this current offense, and it might not even be because of a coaching decision, but more so Morris just deciding that clearly Caleb's the guy, right? In terms of the number one running back, in terms of the carries, is this a new opportunity to I don't know, sustain a star role? That you don't have to move, and you can kind of feature yourself in this Neal Brown system. You know what I mean? But yeah, who are some other guys that you think that could possibly be, in consideration of wanting to stay and be a part of this new era?
I mean, you have to count on this entire roster maybe entering the portal.
Ah,
or
that's
well,
why I'm
leaving
like,
at this
I
point.
don't know.
I know. I mean,
Oh,
obviously
man.
you want to keep those guys because, I mean, McGill was the #1 back coming into the season. You thought he was going to lead the team in touchdowns and carries and whatnot. And then obviously Hawkins had his amazing breakout. So you'd love to keep a guy like that, but I don't know if it's feasible, especially with how the transfer portal is today.
That's fair.
I mean, if guys aren't getting playing time somewhere and you know they're capable. I mean, he had what, 10 touchdowns last season? Double digits?
Yeah.
And you know they're capable like he is. I mean, he's going to get a shot somewhere else.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah,
he's gonna
McGill
play.
returned as scoring the most touchdowns as a running back. There was a quarterback that was above him, but in the American, and he was anticipated to be the guy. I was listening to the interview that Justin sent me from fall camp from Drew Sabota, and he was talking about Caleb Hawkins, like some of these freshmen that are talented that need to kind of start out on special teams, and what freshmen kind of stuck out. And he was like, yeah, there's this guy named Caleb Hawkins,
This guy.
and he's pretty athletic, and he can run pretty fast.
You can
and
look through so many voice memos I have where it's the same thing. Where it's
Yeah.
like, this Caleb guy just really keeps playing
kinda
well.
good.
And we'll
right,
see
he was
where
just
that
like,
ends up.
oh, there's this Caleb
He's
guy.
making Trey Fields miss tackles in practice? What's going on?
Yeah,
out here?
so and we kind of saw that against Lamar in those first few games. They wanted to go to Western Michigan. He scored the overtime touchdown.
Winning
right?
touchdown, yeah. He scored a lot of touchdowns those first 3 weeks before
Yeah.
Hawkins came away.
That's a question that, honestly, we need to maybe put on our big girl pants and ask. And why? Not necessarily why is Mackenzie McGill not the leading rusher,
he
the
not
go-to
getting any
guy?
carries?
Because
Yeah.
obviously that would be
Yeah.
a very ignorant question.
Of
Because we
course.
know why.
It's
But
Caleb,
why
yeah.
is Mackenzie not the number 2? Right? Nothing wrong with Kiefer Sibley. But, like, why is he not even sharing those 2 and 3 snaps with Kiefer Sibley?
I know.
And we don't. The thing is we don't know. I had someone tweet at me during the game and ask, "Why is Mackenzie McGill in trouble? Is Mackenzie McGill hurt?" And I was like, "Dude, I don't know. He didn't get a snap since UTSA. I think is what we had
Wow.
gone back
That's crazy.
and looked at. So."
Ages.
We don't know, and I think that was a wonderful point. I did not even think about it that way. But do you think he's so scorned by what has happened at
Probably.
the past few years, right?
Yeah.
Do you think he's just like, I need to move on? Because it's so easy to now.
Yeah, it depends on what he's looking for, right? I think like
This turned into a Mackenzie McGill podcast. Very
Yeah.
Well, I can bring up a couple guys in a similar position. Kiefer's another guy who obviously has been contributing in this offense, but I don't know if he's put together a body of work enough to like get to a program where he's going to get more NIL money or more of an opportunity to play. Rather he could probably get to a school that could probably pay him more. But then will you be seeing the field at all? And what matters to you? In a player nowadays, I'm not gonna get into that conversation, but I think Kiefer's another guy. I think that I had another guy in my brain. Oh, Chris Jefferson Jr., right? Who came here with Moores and came here to develop under this roster. Next year, depending on your thoughts about Neal Brown, if you truly, you have early conversations with him and you go, man, this guy's also kind of an offensive genius in his own right, and seemingly there's no other quarterbacks here. Maybe this will be my opportunity to finally see the field a little faster than I anticipated. I'll be a redshirt freshman, and then after that, I can parlay that into wherever I want to go next. I'm trying to think of other guys. I promise you, there's a list of them in my brain. It's like, are you sure you want to
Baron
leave?
Tipton
Like,
Jr.
Sure, Baron Tipton. Who
He's got great size.
He does.
Yeah.
6'5" receiver,
Yeah.
big man. Listed on the freak athlete list at the beginning of the year, I think.
And in that same vein, Terrence Lewis, who's a freshman who saw some playing time this year as well. These guys are definitely talented enough to play at other schools, but I'm not sure if they've put together a resume large enough to land at a higher program, is what I'm basically getting at. So is it more worthwhile, depending on Neal Brown's pitch about who he is and what he brings to the table, to just stay in North Texas and just kind of see if you can put together a better body of work and get more playing time, get more snaps? There's guys on the defensive side of the ball that I'm trying to think of right now as well, but
Quentin Hammonds is only a sophomore, isn't he?
absolutely.
You have a couple young safeties. Pat Smith is a junior. Evan Jackson's a junior. Obviously, they only have 1 year left, so that they might want to spend their last year maybe at a different program. But you have a couple younger guys. Obviously, a senior-heavy defense. But
The question I have is these. Obviously, we've already talked about it. Morris has had a knack for getting these lackluster guys in high school and turning them into diamonds in the rough when they get here. Do you think someone like Miles Coleman, who has the talent but maybe doesn't have the measurable that a P4 school is not only going to want but require, Do you think a guy like that? I'm blanking on a few other, but I know there's a few others on this North Texas team. Do you think that Eric Morris not leave them behind in like a dramatic way, but do you think he's not too apt to take them with him just because of the move that he's made and maybe the bigger pull that he can have? Or do you think that Morris is going to want to try and keep as much of his nucleus of producers together in order to kind of translate something he knows is successful into his first year at Oklahoma State? That's the question I want answered.
Yeah, you don't know, right? You're not really going to know until his
Right.
opening press conference, maybe, that he has at Oklahoma State. But what you do know about Morris is he can make it work with anyone on offense, right? Obviously, he needs to get his players that he wants, but 68 new transfers coming in this year, and he didn't skip a beat on that production on the offensive side. So not to say he's abandoning them perchance, but obviously going to a Big 12 school, you just need, going to a Power 4 school, you just need bigger athletes. You need more intangibles just on both sides of the ball. That's just the nature of it, right? Especially in the trenches and stuff like that. And obviously, you know, he's predicted to bring over the guys like Mestemaker and Hawkins who have those size. Mestemaker is 6'4", great arm, great pocket passer. Hawkins like 6'2", 200 pounds, big size for running back. So those guys have the size, but it's those lower guys, you know, the Miles Coleman, the other receivers who may be underweight, the guys in the trenches who might be a little smaller that I would struggle to see him bringing over just because of the size difference and just the tenacity you need in power schools.
Well,
like
and I
that.
think we won't find out that information. You were like, we might find out at that press conference. If we win on Friday, I would bet a lot of money that we don't, right? Because
That's a
they've
good
still
point.
got something that they're competing for. Obviously, they would still make a bowl game, but you're competing for whatever trophy and that bowl's mascot on top of it. Or I would love if they go to the Pop-Tart Bowl, even though I know that's not a
love the
possibility
Pop-Tart Bowl.
whatsoever. That would literally be my dream scenario, and they could eat the Pop-Tart.
We'll have
but-
celebratory Pop-Tarts on here if we make it
But
there.
if they're playing in that scenario, that would be something that we would need to keep our eye on in terms of maybe he does open up about the players that he's going to take, because obviously he might just be, hey, you don't need to play in this bowl game. Let's just already head to Stillwater. But if
Hey,
they're
Chris
in the
Jefferson, you
CFP,
want some
we're
snaps?
not finding out anything.
No. I want to. I'm like stuck on running backs right now, guys. Jaden Bex is another
Jaden
running
Bex,
back who
that's
got
right.
playing time earlier in the season, fell out of the rotation, and Morris
Got
came
moved
out.
to the practice squad, I think.
Morris came out and was like, he's not going to get PT this year. Let's just give him a red shirt, right? And then speaking on that topic that you were talking about, Haylie, we were talking about, you know, some guys who are left behind. We just named a bunch of running backs, and they signed, I remember this, Katie Jones, who I think in his Twitter bio it says like the #1 player in Oklahoma.
That sounds, I love players from Oklahoma.
And so, who's also a running back. And so, meaning
Ooh.
clearly,
A little familiar there.
clearly he's already hot in the recruiting trail. I'm actually going to, at this point, let's just open up Katie Jones' profile here. But
I got an Oklahoma State soccer player.
yeah,
Don't know how to
That's
spell this
it. That's the
name.
one.
That's the one.
Katie Jones had an offer from Kansas, who he was previously committed to. He has an offer from Arizona State, Arkansas, Alabama. These are recruits, and this is part of the reason why I imagine Eric Morris wanted to take this job at Oklahoma State. So obviously he has plenty of ability to find a Caleb Hawkins, who was a 3-star from Shawnee Mission East, I think, is where he went to high school. But now you can also just get Katie Jones. Now you can also just get a guy who has offers from Bama and be like, just come, stay home, stay here, which is something you just really can't do in the state of Texas and at UNT. And so, culminating all of our points in this kind of sprawled segment we have right now. I'm curious about running backs because I think there's a lot of them that I don't know can get better opportunities elsewhere. And I'm also curious about which running backs can even go with Morris because I think he's bringing in young talent like Katie Jones, for instance.
Well, that's what opened up this offense and made this team one of the best complementary
Yes.
teams in the American, right? They've been able to succeed with the air raid offense, but it was something that started perplexing people when Caleb Hawkins started getting in the mix. I would even argue when Mackenzie McGill was having a good day, you know? So, yes, keep focusing on the running backs because that's what North Texas needs to do moving forward if they want to continue pummeling people because that's their MO. I mean, if we look at, I'm going to do a little bit of a bag pull myself.
I'm ready.
Does anyone know who played in the New Orleans Bowl in 2017?
But who played as
I
in
swear I just looked at this yesterday and I don't remember.
who played as in what? Like as in
Who
What
played
teams?
the two teams that played in the 2017 New Orleans Bowl?
Is
And
this-
you can't look it up.
I think you told me, wasn't it? Is this the one where Troy and UNT, or which one is this?
Yes, so
Yeah.
a young Neal Brown in his prime led Troy against North Texas and beat a good North Texas team in 2017, 50-30.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where are we going on Friday?
We're going down to New Orleans. Yes.
To New
The
Orleans.
Big Easy. So,
I'm not.
long story short, sounds a little familiar when North Texas score enough points to win, but just gets boat raced. And I think the running back room is something that helped them, obviously, along with Skylar Cassidy coming in and overhauling the
Offensive
defense.
line.
That's Skylar Cassidy.
Something that has made this team complete and whole is opening up that ground game, and that's something that Neal Brown, not saying you need to automatically replace Caleb Hawkins, because that's a big ask, but someone who can fulfill some kind of responsibility in that way.
And luckily, that is something that Neal Brown does. He does have an air raid type offense, but he uses a heavy set package with running backs and tight ends much more than Morris did his first 2 seasons. He's a lot more horizontal based, whereas the Eric Morris air raid offense, we're gonna score on you in 30 seconds, and we will score again in 10 seconds the next drive. That's basically a downfield passing, downfield rusher, and score as quick as possible. It's a more horizontal based. I have it written down here. Horizontal, Control F. Yes, less explosive vertical plays, more horizontal plays in that air raid offense.
Yeah.
And then kind of tying it back to recruiting, we're going back to Neal Brown, guys.
circle.
Full
We're here.
circle.
I'm here with Neal.
Going
man.
back to some recruiting. All right,
I'm here with Neal.
I'm here with Neal. I'm here for another year, guys. I'm here for Neal.
I'm here for Neal as well.
We're here for Neal.
Going back to his heyday at Troy, he was able to grab some players who were overlooked. I'm not saying to the extent Morris has done, especially this year, but he was able to do that. He one of his running backs, Jordan Chun, he was a 2-star. He finished his career at Troy as the all-time program leader in rush touchdowns. So knows how to recruit running backs, knows how to use them. Some other players he recruited. Rashad Dillard, defensive lineman. He was a JUCO recruit. He transferred to Troy. He became the 2016 Sun Belt Defensive Player of the Year. Hunter Reese, a defensive lineman, was a walk-on. He was a 2017 All-Sun Belt first-team player. And then Blaise Brown, a cornerback. He was a 0-star, very lightly recruited. 2-time All-Sun Belt cornerback and was invited to the NFL Combine. So Neal Brown does know how to find those players.
Ball knower.
Ball knower Neal Brown. You know what I forgot to say?
Talk
Me
to
and
me.
Green fans, it is time to trust the climb, baby.
What is
Take
that about?
flight.
Take flight. Trust the flight. I saw that on Twitter.
the flight?
That was
Follow
okay.
the flight.
Okay. One thing I am excited about. I don't know if you've been perusing Twitter, but obviously
Please tell me about
X
it.
the everything app. I'm sorry.
I've been
Perusing
busy, so-
X. Neal Brown is like so heavily memed, especially at West Virginia. I saw this post from a West Virginia sports page, and he had a whole folder of just like Neal Brown memes. And it was like, for God forbid a white boy gets saucy, and it's just a picture of Neal Brown.
Wow.
So he's a character apparently.
Mountaineer legend.
Yeah.
Neal,
And
Neal Brown followed me on X the other day. I think I have to imagine it's a complete accident. I sent him a follow request, and he said he accepted immediately. I'm like, there's just no way that he meant to press that button intentionally.
Oh, he took it back?
No, it's still on there. I think it's an accident because there's just no reason. Because Miles texted me. Miles Better texted me. I was like, why did Coach just follow you? I was like,
He was
"Dude." Mm-hmm.
trying to find all the North Texas media and saying, what are these scoundrels saying about me
247.
right now?
Ian, I think you just illustrated, a point that Haylie made as well, which is that having success both at Troy and at West Virginia, I think has allowed him to kind of see the ups and downs of college football, right? I mean, again, any credit to a guy who can find a 0-star and then develop that player into an all-conference player, seriously, and Blaise Brown here, but
Blaise Brown.
Blaise Brown. Gosh, what a fun name.
I know. I was like, I like these names. These
Seriously.
defensive
Blaise.
names.
Yeah, I got off the phone with someone just now, and they brought up a really great point, which I forgot about, which is that if you make the college football playoffs at all, you get paid like $4 million.
The school or Coach
I'm
Morris?
pretty sure. Well, I'm pretty sure for the school gets a giant sum of money for appearing in the college football playoffs, both for travel and then obviously
Eric
if you
Morris
win it.
could give
You gotta fact check
UNT.
me though.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
I'm
Y'all
I'm
keep
spreading
talking.
misinformation wildly right now. But the whole reason why I brought that up, Haylie, and the whole reason I bring that up, Ian, is the idea here is, I guess, if you win this American Conference Championship and if you can make a playoff appearance and get some sort of stipend for appearing, that may be true or not.
Yes, universities get a bonus for making the CFP with money distributed to conferences. In the case of schools like Notre Dame and not in a conference, it goes directly to the university.
Oh, goodness.
So-
yes. It would go to the American first.
It would go to the American first. Participating schools can earn a base amount plus additional money for each round they advance, with the total payout increasing significantly with deeper runs.
Of
How
course.
payments are distributed, conferences receive payments for each team they have in the CFP and for each round those team advance. These funds are then distributed to the member schools. So yes, I don't know if that figure is correct.
$4 million is crazy. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But
yes.
whatever
sum
sum
of
of
money.
money that you can get that's liquid. You know what I'm saying? So, and they had mentioned that like for someone to take over this program, please.
Gasp.
$4 million is right.
$4 million.
First round, $4 million for each participating. This was the payout structure for 2024 to 2025.
Last year. Okay.
So honestly, I don't see this figure going down. It actually might have gone up a little bit, and I can find that if we want. But last year, it was $4 million for the first round, another $4 million for the quarterfinals, $6 million for the semis, and $6 million for the natty.
So what I'm hearing is Eric Morris could give us a great parting gift.
So what I'm hearing is our
amazing
NIL
targets.
fund has, I don't even know what like
Along with
100
his
times
buyout.
over would be. I was gonna say quadrupled times 25 because I don't even know what the like 100 times word would be. But yeah.
But yes, and so I thought that was a fantastic point to bring up, and I think it combines with Haylie's point, and it combines with Ian's examples, right? So for Neal Brown, a guy who's had success at both of these levels, you need that type of experience and that type of veteran leadership in a moment where North Texas has the opportunity to get $4 million just added to their athletic revenue.
That is huge.
It just instantly after this postseason run, so that you can correctly use it and allocate it in ways that are not wasteful, and you can basically make it as efficient as possible, right? So for a guy who can find lower tier talent and a guy who's also been at the P4 level, that's fantastic. I think it's a fantastic situation, hard situation, but it's a fantastic candidate for a probably difficult situation.
And yes, obviously, I guess to address the UNT fans who are struggling maybe to process this move. He had, I mean, you know, we were all processing it yesterday too, but he had great success at Troy at the Group of 5 level. Obviously, not as much at the Power 4 level, but there's just some weird stuff with West Virginia and they're in the Big 10, Big 12?
Big 12.
Big 12.
Yeah, Big 12 also. And the Big 12, I think. And he's had a year to learn under Sarkisian over there at Texas. Probably, who knows what his offensive playbook looks like now. I'm sure it's different.
Yeah.
So
Sark's offense.
Wow. I guess as we kind of wrap up this segment, unless there's anything else you want to
we
talk
talked.
No, we
yeah,
talked.
so much about
there's a lot to look forward to about this Neal Brown hire. He has we listed him, has incredible similarities to Morris. Offensive-minded coach, knows how to find those diamonds in the rough, those types of players, and maybe get a nice sum of money for him to work with for that NIL fund. If Eric Morris can lead us to the promised land and Drew Mestmaker lead us to the promised land, there's a lot to look forward to. And I think it was a good hire for the short term and for the long term. He's a noteworthy coach. He's not a guy coming from an FCS school or something like that. So I think he'll be able to turn in a good transfer class at the very least. Obviously, you don't know what that February signing class is going to look like, but I'm sure he'll be able to supplement the roster well enough to maybe be competitive in an American that is not going to be what it was this year. I mean, you lost 4 of your best coaches,
Seriously.
all got plucked away by Power 4 schools. Each program that was at the top this year is going to be rebuilding. The future looks bright. And then obviously you'll have that money to work with, the players to recruit, maybe his first and second year, to build a program to what he wants to be. We'll find out more on that opening press conference scheduled for Monday at 11 a.m. I'm sure we'll all probably be there
Tune in.
listening to stuff. I'll probably just be there for the vibes, just to listen. You know.
Open to the public.
Open to the public.
Free.
Oh my God! When is Morris? Isn't it like 3 that same day?
It's Monday. I can look that up as well.
Also Monday.
Is it?
I think so.
Interesting.
I know it's Monday.
Yeah.
I just don't remember the time.
I didn't even make that connection until just now. Yeah.
We're thinking here. All right, Haylie, as you look that up, we will move into our reactions to the American Conference Awards for this 2025 football season.
1:30 p.m.
Oh,
Wow.
dang, that's really
1:30
close.
p.m.
So we're going to have some insight from Neal Brown at 11, and then we're going to turn around and give you some insight on what Morris says it
We're
is
going
OSU.
to teleport to OSU and
Yeah,
watch
we're
that too.
we're going to take an express jet on the North Texas Daily's dime to Stillwater.
Exactly.
Shout out the Mayborn.
Shout out to Mayborn.
American Conference Awards 2025 season. The Mean Green had 12 players in total on the 3 teams. I didn't fact check, but is that the most out of any team in the American?
Ooh.
I don't know.
I
Haylie,
can
get on
do
that.
some math.
4 players on each team. Caleb Hawkins, a unanimous first-team selection, the only unanimous selection in those awards. No surprise there. Dog. Caleb Hawkins, dog. Drew Mestemaker, Offensive Player of the Year, dog.
Dog.
Caleb Hawkins, Rookie of the Year, dog. There's some things swirling on X that maybe Byron Brown should have won Offensive Player of the Year, and he makes a case if you look at this Offensive Player of the Year. I don't think he should have gotten first team quarterback over Drew in any universe, but Offensive Player of the Year, maybe he had more total yards and more touchdowns. I could see it, but I just can't get after the season.
I think you have to factor in team performance as
Yeah.
a quarterback. I really do.
Really? Dude.
I mean, not as heavily, obviously, as the other stuff, but when you look at
I'm learning a lot about you today. I'm learning a lot about us, guys. Award voting, I think, reveals all. I think it reveals a lot. Please, continue.
I mean, when you're talking about, this is a whole other debate.
I know.
When you're talking about Offensive Player of the Year, what wins a game? Having what?
Points. More points.
More points.
Yeah.
Who is in the American Conference Championship and who is not?
Ooh.
Wow.
But 63-36. Shut up.
So,
you lost to
and
Navy.
I'm not discrediting Byron Brown. I definitely
he's
got
great.
on the table for Byron Brown when we were doing that podcast.
We chose
and
South
said-
Florida.
And we chose South Florida. Like, I'm really not trying to.
I mean, middle of the season, they were the best team in the American. They were
Absolutely.
fantastic middle of the season.
I don't know what
absolutely.
happens.
Me
They outmanned us in that second half.
Yeah.
Like it was not even fair. The seesaw was not only leaning one way, it flipped over.
It
by
went
the
it went
amount
into
of-
the ground and did 360 and then went back.
So I'm not trying to discredit Byron Brown. I'm saying when we're looking at Offensive Player of the Year, especially with a quarterback, I think you do need to factor in a little bit
Of winning.
of winning.
Okay.
Honestly, I think the reason why Byron Brown was the first team quarterback was because they might have been so split between Byron Brown and Drew, and they're like, okay, Drew gets Offensive Player of the Year, Byron Brown gets first team. Does that make sense?
No,
Like,
he
they're both
wasn't.
so
Yeah,
Drew
he was-
was the first team. Also,
Byron was,
Oh my
second
gosh.
team.
Byron was second team.
Okay, yeah, I have. I was telling them a story that the conference team list was not super fresh on my mind because I was like setting up my camera while that was released.
So many
I'm
things
sorry.
happened yesterday.
Oh.
man.
I'm sorry. I thought y'all were saying that
no,
like
no.
No,
Byron
no.
Brown got the quarterback spot over.
He only got second
Okay.
team conference.
Well, that also, I guess that would have been confusing anyways, because like, why would he
Yeah.
not be on the first team? But anywho, long story short, it was very, what am I trying to say? There wasn't a lot of separation between Byron Brown and Drew in terms of
Okay, I
being
understand
a
what
good
you're getting.
quarterback.
Okay.
But
Yes.
when you're looking at such a tight race, I think that's what I needed to start with.
Yeah.
When you're looking at two athletes that severely impacted their team's performance, I think you do have to factor that in of, okay, who's in the conference championship game and their team leads FBS in the most 50-plus point performances, and
You're
who's
splitting
not.
hairs. And,
Also, guy
yes.
threw for 608 yards in the
Yeah.
at his position where you got to throw the ball.
Okay.
Hey, but that
Glad
Byron
I
Brown
did a
guy-
whole like 360 and came back.
No, I'm with you. We got your point, man. That Byron Brown guy is so fun to watch.
Oh
He is.
yeah,
You know
100%.
He is a grown man out there. I was watching just like a random mixtape, just like on my Instagram Reels timeline. It popped up. It ended up being a Byron Brown edit. It was just a random like football page. I was
It was
like,
me.
oh, well, he's just reaching out. Yeah.
It was us.
It was us. Sorry, guys, we made it. A couple other awards for the Mean Green in the American Conference. Eric Morris won Coach of the Year. Not really a surprise there. Turned around
Well
from a
deserved.
6-7 team to the best
My gosh.
season in conference history. We will miss you dearly, Coach Morris. And then all 5 offensive linemen for the Mean Green earned a spot on one of those 3 teams. No surprise there either because, you can't stress it enough how unsung these guys are, but they have been absolutely fantastic this season. Just run blocking, pass blocking, the maturity. 3 of them are seniors. Two of them are sophomores. I think they're all just fantastic players. Gabe Blair, I think, was the first team.
Yes.
And then Tayonta and Braden Nelson were second team, and then Jimto and Johnny Dixon were third team. Just great seasons from all those guys. Coach Cody Krill, offensive line coach, shout out to him. Hopefully you can keep him, but I doubt it.
I doubt
But
it.
yeah. All right, guys. Thoughts? I guess now we'll get into that. Thoughts on where? Oh wait, I didn't even say the rest of them. Wyatt Young was
Dog.
Dog. Control F. What happened? Hold on. North Texas, because there's so many people I can't even scroll. All right.
Golly.
Wyatt Young, dog.
Oh my gosh, I forgot to say dog.
That's okay.
Braden Nelson, dog.
Dog.
Tayonta,
Dog.
dog. Ethan Weslowski, dog.
Dog.
David Fisher, dog.
Dog.
Jimto Obadegu, dog.
Dog.
Johnny Dixon, dog.
Dog.
Trey Fields,
Dog.
dog. Will Jones, dog. and that's it.
All right.
A couple players on the defensive side of the ball. Obviously, you got Wyatt Young up there in first team. No surprise there either. The two linebackers who were both just excelling in tackling and leading the team in tackles, and then a couple defensive backs there as well. All right, now Justin, reactions. What do you think this is accurate? Do you think anyone was left off? Any snubs? Questions, thoughts, comments, concerns?
So, in terms of snubs, the first thing we have to acknowledge is that Davion Armstead and David Fisher did have essentially the same years. And if anything, we were talking about, I think Davion Armstead really came on in the second half of the year compared to David Fisher, who I think was more just a consistent force throughout the year. I think that's probably a guy who probably deserves to be on the list in some capacity. I imagine that in terms of there's a little bit of voter fatigue just with so many North Texas players in the all-conference stuff. So I understand from the voting side, but I think that's a guy who's probably deserving of some honors.
Mm-hmm.
I want to preface with these awards are all political.
Oh yeah, come on.
So I wouldn't read too much into this. I totally agree. I also would have loved to see someone from our linebacker core on the first team. I think they've done a great job.
I think Ethan Wisłowski deserves to be up there easily.
Yeah, they're one of the highest graded tackling linebacker cores in the country. So I would have loved to see at least one of them, whether that be Wisłowski, whether that be Fields.
There's 4 linebacker spots on that first team too.
I know.
I have to imagine too that if Shane was healthy, that all 3 would have made all conference teams.
I was about to say, I would have loved to see Shane there.
I mean, Shane was having the best season out of all of them up to when he got injured. It's just crazy. How well the rest of them were doing. Hey, were you? Sorry, I kind of cut you off there.
No, that was the main point. I try not to get, maybe why I was blanking on the correct placing of the American Conference Awards is because I'm not going to get too wrapped up in them, right? Because as we've seen with the CFP committee and the AP voting and all that other stuff, when you've got other people that are maybe journalists or anyone like that making the decisions, you know, there's going to be a level of perspective and bias and eye tests.
Roll the clip of Mike Leach on committees.
Right. So I'm not going to get wrapped up too wrapped up in it. We know the impact players for North Texas, and that's what matters most is how are they going to perform on Friday.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, Davion Armstead, another impact player there on the defensive side. Yeah, and yeah, at the end of the day, it is political. It's nice. It's just nice to have that, right? I mean, 12 players. Don't know if that was the most, but just having all those guys be recognized for the work and for how magical the season has been and for everything that they have brought for the season. All right, guys, it's time for the big cojones. The American Conference Championship is coming up.
We didn't even talk about that North Texas was ranked in the college football playoff.
Oh my goodness, you're so right. Guys, we're 24.
This is a ranked
Yeah,
it's long overdue. I think we've talked about it enough. Like, it's long overdue.
No, nothing to delve into really, but hey guys,
we're ranked.
We're ranked.
First time ever.
Haylie enlightened me with the latest. I was really just focused on the fact that we were ranked when the news first came out. And then Haylie, of course, had to slow me down and really explain, like, okay, but now the structure is crazy because depending if Duke defeats Virginia in the ACC championship, Virginia is the only ranked ACC team in the poll. Therefore, JMU, or I guess possibly Tulane if they don't drop them down that low. Well, no, I'm so sorry. That would not happen. Yep. It would be JMU would insert into one of those conference champion spots, which would just be insane.
I'd love to bring up, was it about like a month? It would have been like 3 weeks ago.
Oh, Haylie called the shot.
And I said, what is the possibility that the ACC champion is left out? Justin, I've never seen Justin's eyes just look at me so crazily and be like, what did you just say? Like, this isn't an alternate dimension.
Out of the playoffs? Never.
Yeah. And here we are, December 3rd. And it is a possibility because if we're really analyzing these CFP streams, it used to be where they had the anticipated ACC winner in that spot, along with Tulane, was South Florida at one point, and now it just says conference champ number 4 and conference champ number 5 with not an ACC team in sight. So shout out Duke. I'm dusting off the hoodie that I have in Houston.
7-5 Duke in a championship game. Oh, man.
Yeah, so it is very much a possibility. As of right now, if I'm remembering correctly, if we essentially would make it in and Duke would win the ACC championship, then James Madison would take that 5 spot, and we would be playing Ole Miss if we were being based off the bracket right now. And then in the event that Virginia wins, we would be in that 5 spot, barring beating Tulane. I just want to put that out there. Of course. My bad. I forgot to bring that up.
Oh, yeah, and we'll talk about that, obviously.
Yeah, we're about to talk about
that'll be the last 40 minutes.
And we would be playing Oregon as of right now.
Oh.
And A&M is
Wow.
in the 7 spot. Obviously, there's going to be a
More
ton
shifts,
of
yeah.
moving and shaking in that ranking. It is probably not going to look anywhere near what it is presented yesterday. So that literally means nothing. But I do find it interesting that now the CFP is kind of redacted on the initial predictions of the conference champions that we're going to be in. And now they just put 4 and 5. So that tells us that, maybe the ACC champ doesn't make it in. I highly doubt it. I think they're going to sneak an ACC team in there, not obviously taking away the championship spots from North Texas and James Madison, because based off their policies, they cannot. They might shave another team off just to save face for the Power 4
Oh, like
conferences.
sneaking into Miami.
Like a Miami.
Yes. Okay.
If you're into betting odds, the line for Miami to make it in, I think was yesterday, was plus 820. And now it's down to plus 410
Wow.
in a day.
Yeah. Wow. They're hearing
What
something.
does
They're
Las
doing
Vegas
something.
know that we
They're
don't
doing
know?
something. They're cooking up something over there. Yes. Yes, we covered all that. All right. American Conference Championship.
Yeah.
You can't get to the playoffs unless you don't win this game.
Right.
There were some concerns about the forecast coming in. It looked like it was going to be a rainy and cold one, but I just checked a couple hours ago, and the rain percentage went down tremendously. It was like 20%. Still going to be cold, but that bodes incredibly well for North Texas, because I guess for first point going into this, if you went into this game and it was raining, your offensive game plan goes out the window, and you start to worry a little bit, because because of how you compare to this Tulane team. Their run defense is ranked second in the American. They held Charlotte to negative 3 yards rushing that entire game. I was saying I will shave my head if they hold Caleb Hawkins to negative yards rushing. I think that's a safe bet. 'Cause
Yeah,
that's
that's
not
very
gonna happen,
safe bet.
I've seen him
But-
have maybe 3 negative runs this year, honestly.
if at all.
And
But, yeah.
that's even more impressive with the scouting profile that he's got to have with all these teams. It's probably a packet just himself, right? So the fact that he's only had, I don't know if that's like a padlock stat, or if you're just saying it feels like 3, but
No,
that's
I'm
probably true.
I'm saying it feels like 3. I don't know
Yeah.
the actual number, but it hardly feels like he ever went
Yeah,
down.
but you've got people double teaming him, triple teaming him. It doesn't matter.
But yeah. But yes, if you're North Texas and you go into this game and it is raining, that passing becomes a lot harder to do, which is what you want to attack this Tulane defense on. And now that it's not raining, you can start focusing on that. The pass defense for Tulane has been bad all year. They are 117th nationally and allow 251.9 passing yards per game. Yeah, a lot. Really not fantastic pass defense over there. So now that the forecast is favorable, the North Texas matches up much nicer, just in terms of the game plan.
Yeah, we also need to bring up, though, that, Tulane's bringing a good ground game to the table, and that's something that
Yeah,
North
we'll get in-
Texas
yes.
defense has really struggled with. So I don't want to say it's tit for tat, because I think North Texas's lethalness in the pass game probably outweighs that, disadvantage. But it's still something to bring up. It's not all sunshine and rainbows meeting up with Tulane.
No. I mean, this is gonna be. I mean, I think maybe outside of South Florida, the hardest game you played all year. Not just because you're playing Tulane, but because you're playing a team that's been to 4 straight conference championships. They have 3 or 4 straight fantastic seasons. They just know how to be here. And when you get, you see it in sports all the time. When you get to the postseason or to a championship game, the experience plays a huge factor, if not more than the stats do, and the way you predict how both teams will come into the game. It just does. It's just the environment. That's just how it is. And, for the North Texas team that hasn't been here, it's their first American championship, a young team that, you expect it to play a factor. Just with John Sermel, he's a winning coach. He knows what it's like to be in this championship game. So I think that plays a big factor. Don't know how big it'll play. It'll play a big factor.
Well, considering how well North Texas has played at home compared to on the road as well, I mean, North Texas is favored in this game as of right now, but still, I mean, North Texas, I don't want to say has played completely different, but I mean, they've kind of proven they are more comfortable in Denton at DACU Stadium rather than on the road. So that's something to consider as well.
Yep.
Guys, I think, man. I'm just excited. That's
I
really
know.
what I
We get
think.
to play in American Conference Championship.
Beignets.
Beignets. And I've been talking to my Haylie about beignets for the last several hours. I won't do it again for another hour that we're on here. But yes, I think both of you guys bring up great points. I think that this is definitively, essentially, UNT's second best competition, if not best, right? I mean, I think I know that UNT took care of business all year, and that's the reason why they deserve to be ranked. But I also understood the strength of schedule arguments that kept up repeatedly popping up throughout the year in terms of like the reason why they hadn't earned their ranking yet. Truly, they have not played anyone really that spectacular. Temple was a 500 team. Rice was a below 500 team. UAB was a below 500 team, right? These are a lot of conference opponents who just aren't the top of the conference right now. Maybe next year they will be. UTSA this year was up and down. UTSA on the road was a not a great team.
What the whole
UTSA at home, I mean, that's a different
What
team.
even is that?
I don't know. But I think by far this is probably their biggest test. I think that based on the fact that Haylie based on the contrasted weaknesses that Haylie brought up in terms of how UNT has struggled to defend the run, which Tulane is obviously great at, and Tulane has struggled to guard the pass, which is UNT is also great at, I imagine we'll head toward not really a shootout, because I don't think neither team really dominates the game by throwing 50 passes at this point. Like North Texas doesn't really do that anymore.
Yeah.
So like I think we're headed toward probably like a 24-27 kind of outcome, maybe in the upper 20s, maybe 28, 24, depending on how the game goes. But that's going to be a lot of scoring for two teams, I think, of potent offenses that match up well against their counterparts on defense.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Enough said.
Enough said. Yeah, just to touch up on kind of how the matchups are just for both teams. Tulane's offense, they run a more RPO, play action style of offense. It very much runs through Jake Retzlaff. Jake, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jake Retzlaff over there at Tulane. Kind of like what South Florida runs. I'm sure it's different, but he's their leading rusher as well, just like Byron Brown was for South Florida. Also their leading passer. They run the ball through like 4 different people, so it's a very balanced rushing attack. You don't know who they're going to come at you with. All different sizes and speed going on there. And like you mentioned, Haylie, they're going to look to attack that North Texas run defense because I'm sure we mentioned earlier the tons of injuries, especially up front, that front seven and on that defensive line. I think you've been missing Sadiq Clemens for a while. June's obviously been out a lot of the year. You're missing Bryson Hayes, a ton of other, that face. You're missing a ton of other defensive linemen, and you only have 2 linebackers in there, and those are the guys you're going to have to rely on if you're the North Texas defense because it runs through Retzlaff, and he's going to be either scrambling, he's going to be either design running, or he's going to be handing it off to one of their three running backs that they hand it off to. They're going to have to stay on their heels and play a nearly perfect game to at least try to contain the rushing attack, because I don't think you're going to stop it, especially... You have a point. I'll wrap up.
No, you're good. I'm ready. I can't wait to add
I saw that light bulb click over your head. You're like, I have something.
I have something for you.
Yes. You have to be nearly perfect. You have to be on your P's and Q's if you are Ethan Weslowski and Trey Fields. Those are going to be the X factors, I think, in this game. You're not going to stop the North Tech. You're not going to stop North Texas offense. They're going to get theirs. If they do, if the Tulane, especially passing defense, stops North Texas offense, I will applaud them. Great for them. You have to stay competitive if you're Tulane, and that's going to come through attacking the run and attacking that front seven. So Trey Fields, Ethan Weslowski going to have to be on their best game to at least try to contain that rushing attack.
I'm super excited that you highlighted that part of the game because I think it's one of the hidden storylines, the many hidden storylines, obviously, because it took us, an hour to get to this preview of this championship game. But one of the hidden storylines in this game is the fact that UNT has played 3 different option teams throughout the season. Obviously, option teams function differently, and even each of those option teams operated differently from each other. But just having the experience during the year to play against 3 different quarterbacks who will use their legs, guaranteed, they will do it in different ways. If anything, that helps you, right? You saw 3 different teams have quarterbacks who are mobile and are involved in the run game in 3 different manners. I just think that allows you to get a lot of reps in terms of, I think Ethan talked about it post-Rice, right? Where he talks about it forces you to train your eyes. It forces you to be more disciplined than the opposing team. And I think those reps are going to be so important, those banked reps heading into this matchup to play against Retzlaff. Obviously playing against South Florida. South Florida, you mentioned itself, Byron Brown is an incredibly mobile quarterback. So pretty much all year, outside of UTSA, outside of a couple teams, UNT has been playing against mobile quarterbacks. Western Michigan, right? I mean, we're talking about a lot of teams with a lot of mobility. It's kind of the standard nowadays, so it's not that abnormal to see. But I think it's really particularly well seen in this North Texas season. I hope they're well versed to play against it.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to add coach speak to that, but North Texas has said and proven that preparation, how they've been able to prepare for these teams, has been key. I think back to the South Alabama game and the way that game started. And everyone was asking in the post-game press conference, hey, what was going on? And they said they brought something to the table that we were not prepared for.
Nope.
when North Texas has seen what these teams have been doing and been able to prepare for these scenarios and fit right matchups to what they want to do, especially, I mean, Skylar Cassidy is a big guy behind that, but the versatility of the offense, being able to show them literally in game-like scenarios what it's been like, they've been able to prepare. And I think that with how North Texas' schedule shaped up, it's going to help out them playing Tulane.
Mm-hmm. Another tidbit just on that Tulane offense before we move into another point. They've only given up 10 sacks all year. Now, a part of that is probably due to Red Slav's escapability. Did I say that right? Yeah, Red Slav's escapability.
Sure.
But especially with the injuries on the UNT defensive line, you're not going to generate that much pressure, I'm sure, especially with RPO and play action style offenses, stuff that RPOs are designed to be quick reads, get the ball out very quick. Play action, obviously more a long developing play, but it's going to be tricky for the defensive line to read what they're trying to do. So the defensive line is going to have a struggle against that offensive line and just the game plan around it. So last point there on the Tulane offense. Another one is red zone importance. So some stats here. The Mean Green, obviously extremely efficient in the red zone this year. A complete 180 from what was going on last year in the red zone. Thanks to that boy, Caleb Hawkins. I mean, every time they get inside that boy, every time they get inside the 10-yard line, he's gonna score the ball. They have scored touchdowns on more than 80% of their trips to the red zone. Tulane is 84th in allowing touchdowns to the red zone. I mean, stats speak for themselves. If the Mean Green make it inside the 20, you're looking pretty good if you're a Mean Green fan, right? So it's all about that Tulane defense stopping that. You have to hone in on. You have to try to stop the pass as best you can. Your run defense has been good all year. You don't know how you're going to match up against an even better offensive line with the North Texas and Caleb Hawkins. And then you have to try to contain what you can. Like I said, the North Texas offense is going to get theirs. You don't. I think the Temple Casey Keeler before the game, he was saying, if we let them score 14, we're losing. Like if we go down by 2 scores, we're losing. He verbatim said that pregame. So they're going to have to hone in, at least try to make sure they don't touch the red zone, have that bend don't break type mentality on defense for Tulane.
I mean, listen, man. This North Texas offense, I think, is playing at its best. It's peaking at the correct time, right? I think they were very explosive early on, but obviously Caleb wasn't fully unlocked or unleashed until about Army. And even Army, he got like 13 carries or so. And so I think it took a while to fully understand the identity of this team and then start leaning into it and then finally figuring out exactly how you want to play against these defenses. I think Coach Morris has described it perfectly in the press conference where he was talking about how defenses will come out and then it's the air raid. So you want to play a little farther back. You want to be in, as he put it, a 2-eye shell with 2 safeties back there. And then obviously, if you have a lighter box, we're going to run Caleb right down the middle.
Yep.
We're going to take advantage of that every time. And then simultaneously to that, so then you're in that chess match, but you're now forcing this defense to adjust constantly. And then on top of that, you throw in tempo, right? So now you have to make this adjustment, but also we're going to hurry up to the line on this. Oh, I love when they do it on the first drive of the game.
They've been so successful
Justin
at it
Knauss
all
breakdown
year.
of the North Texas offense.
It's beautiful. It truly is.
It's an art. Truly.
I really commend Eric Morris in terms of the offensive play calling, just to use every possible thing you can manipulate on offense, right? Whether it be tempo, whether it be the scripting the runs versus pass. Like he's finally had the personnel to have a high level of versatility and a lot of different things he can call. And so now I think you're seeing the results of that, which is just like you're watching a madman at work, honestly, just throwing in different combinations and different ideas, throwing passes in the red zone still. Recently, we've stopped doing that because Caleb will pick up 4 yards pretty easily. But I remember vividly, a couple games back where they ran a screen and into the end zone for a wide receiver, and I thought, it's just a call that I've seen called before, like last year, especially against Army. If we call back to that game, that ended 14-3, and North Texas committed, I think, 2 different interceptions in the end zone. And I saw the passes in the red zone. And I was like, that's going to end terribly. But no, you finally have the personnel to run these things that you've been able to take advantage of fully this year. So
all I have to say is we have Eric Morris's son to thank for getting Caleb Hawkins more carries. Does anyone remember that story?
Oh, I do remember that. That was funny. Yeah.
Man, gotta love it.
Yeah.
There's great Caleb stories. We heard the old man story with the
gosh.
Yeah, the story
It's
yesterday.
so sad we can't interview him.
I know
Before he leaves.
So before he leaves, because the more you learn about him, the more of a character
You wanna
he is.
know.
That was so hilarious. He listens to worship music before. That's the only music he listens to, apparently.
Yeah.
In case y'all didn't know.
Morris was asking Caleb, have you heard this rap songs? All the other guys were singing it and rapping it, and Caleb was like, no, I have no idea what this is. And he told him, no, I only listen to music. I only listen to worship music before the game. That's it.
An old soul at 18 and taking souls out there on the football field.
Morris revealed, I remember like a week or two ago, like Caleb had one pair of gloves given to him at the start of fall camp, and that's the same pair of gloves that he wears now.
Mm-hmm.
And
Like-
it's a shame we can't bring you more of these tidbits because we'll never
Yes.
find them out. We are at the mercy of Morris.
I'm transferring next year.
I'm very
Wherever he goes.
I'm very excited to see.
Equipment manager Ian gets in the transfer.
General manager, actually. No, I'm just kidding. But yes, on that red zone, obviously once they get in there, they will use Hawkins to the best of their ability. Yeah, just going off those last two tidbits, it's going to be an offensive. Well, it's going to be a defensive trying to stop the offense game, and for different reasons. Tulane's going to have to try to stop the pass and just the offense in general, because that's what every defense has to do. And UNT is going to have to try to stop the run. Going to another point, Justin, you were talking about tempo. Kind of covered it already, but
Love it.
UNT obviously infamously likes to play at that fast tempo. Will drop 7 on your head in 30 seconds. So Tulane's going to have to try to control it, and with a run game that matches up nicely against UNT defense, they'll probably be able to do it. But luckily, like we've also been mentioning, it all ties in together so nicely. UNT has played against teams that like to control the clock, like Army, of course. Navy loves to run the ball. South Florida likes to run the ball. Temple was doing it for the first half of the game. They were up on us by like 10 minutes in time of possession, but it ended up not mattering just because of how much the UNT offense just can score in such a quick amount of time. And then I have a defensive point here, but we kind of already covered it. So yeah. Any other last thoughts, guys, just on this game, keys to the game, anything?
Well, the only thing is last time we did predictions.
Oh, let's do predictions. Oh, let's do it.
It didn't go
I
too
was, I
well.
was thinking about this beforehand because I absolutely boofed that South Florida prediction.
Yeah,
I
at
thought
least
about
Justin.
this.
I mean, Justin and I did pick South Florida,
I mean,
but
what
the
we're doing.
the margin of which we picked South
At least
Florida
I
was
said it would be
completely
high
off.
scoring.
You did.
It was
Yes.
raw in the wrong sense, but it was high scoring.
I love to add one more. Sorry,
Yeah, go
I'm
ahead.
going backwards. I love to add
Anything
one more thing. You did mention that there's a possibility because of the lack of defensive line depth that and obviously the offensive line for Tulane just plays so well that there's a limited chance to get pressure on Retzlaff. We've seen Cassidy, I think, throughout this year, not afraid to blitz, especially. I mean, regardless of the personnel that he has. I saw it particularly against Washington State, which obviously worked pretty well against that game, right? I mean, tons of turnovers, tons of celebrating, tons of Stone Cold Steve Austin celebrations, but I don't think he's scared to send pressure if that's what the situation and scenario calls for, and then leave those corners in Fisher and Armstead and Colin Lewis just one-on-one on their matchups deep down the boundary and down the field. And I think that's something that he might lean into. And if truly Retzlaff has all day in the pocket, like you can't play that good of coverage to then force a sack or then to force a negative play. You just can't do that. You have to create pressure of some sort, some capacity. And I want to give Cassidy just a ton of praise for figuring out how to sustain this defense, especially in the turnover margin, despite losing all of those starters we mentioned. Right? I mean, this guy is talk about Eric Morris being a mad genius. This guy is cooking up. That guy is working his magic on the defensive side of the ball, bringing out basically anyone that he can to play for him, which I love.
I have a couple of things. One more thing. If you want to look like the smartest in the room, obviously you guys will be there. But if you want to look like the smartest in the room watching this game, if you watch the UNT defense, they'll probably bring down Davion Armstead and David Fisher into that press coverage. They'll probably bring down a Will Smith. He's the strong safety into the box. Will Jones, not Will Smith. Oh my gosh, not the actor. Will Jones the second. That's his name.
Please,
yeah, down into the box. If you see that happening, tell your family it's like, oh, they're bringing the safety down to sack the box, stop the run. You'll look really smart.
Wow.
I'm sure that's what the UNT game plan will probably consist of, just because of the Tulane rushing game and everything like
And
that.
I'm really excited to see the genie from Aladdin in this game. Wow.
The G. Hey,
I didn't even know
we
he was
have
on the
to win.
team.
We have to win if the
When
genie's out
UNT
there,
brings
right?
out the Men in Black, right? I mean that's
Where's Tommy Lee Jones?
Men
He's
in
on this team too, right?
Haylie, why don't you pick your prediction, pal?
Yeah.
Again, I'm going to go back to the point I made like 5 minutes ago. I did not think they went very well. Are we putting some bad juju? The last time we did predictions, North Texas picked up their only loss.
Ooh.
And badly. And that kind of serves as
Y'all
the
still
only
predicted
stamp.
South Florida to win, though.
I was gonna say maybe it's because we predicted them to
Yeah,
Exactly.
guys.
We predicted them to
Huh?
lose.
Huh?
Don't worry, I'll change that formula from right now. I think North Texas is going to win this game. I think there's a reason why they're favored. I think this offense is, again, peaking at the right time. And I think Coach Skylar Cassidy is making magic happen on the defensive side. If I were to guess a score, I'd probably say Man, when was the last time a UNT offense didn't score 30 points in a game? It's got to be
That's-
30 points or
Yeah,
more, right?
I was gonna say the
that's
same thing.
that's easy. Let's do. I'll say 38 for some weird reason to 24.
Haylie,
You
you're
go.
thinking,
I
I'll
need to-
go.
I need
I
to
was like,
think
you're
on
thinking,
this.
I'll go next. That's crazy because I also I predicted UNT and I predicted 38 to 31. I think the Tulane offense is gonna end up scoring, and that run defense will probably do some stuff. But I really think the UNT offense is just too overwhelming for any defense to stop. And it's not a knock on Tulane's defense. It just is. You know, if they only had to worry about the run, then maybe, but they have to worry about both the run and the pass and the tempo and Caleb Hawkins getting uphill and all the different types of route. It's just too much for even me to think about. I really think this North Texas offense is overwhelming. Like you said, they're favored for a reason. I think that defense hones in well enough, and offense picks up another 30-plus point performance. I have UNT taking this one too.
Don't worry, no, Ian, we'll just keep talking. No,
No,
I'm
I'll
kidding.
go.
Go for it. Come on.
Were you trying to cut me off?
No. I'm so excited.
Man, okay. I thought I was going to have like a little bit different of a take because you had said earlier you had kind of seen it being like 28, 24. Like you were saying that earlier.
I was saying, yeah.
So I was like, dude, they're going to be in the 30s.
Yeah, I
No,
was
no,
like,
no,
it's
no.
not going to be
That
below
was-
30.
no.
That
that's
was the
for
next
sure.
thought I had, which was like, when was the last time North Texas?
Yeah.
It'll
So
be an offensive game.
I will outright, if it was like a pick 'em, I'd go North Texas. I think it matches up for North Texas really well. If South Florida was in this game,
Oh, I would
just
not like
from what we've seen from South Florida, not necessarily that North Texas doesn't have the capability to beat the Bulls, but just, I don't know. They just don't match up well with South Florida, and we saw that. I know North Texas kind of fell apart, but like I still don't think they match up great, just with the athletes that they had out there.
Yeah.
Not that we don't have the athletes, but they were just different.
I would agree.
Yeah,
They had better size.
They have some grown
by
men out
far.
there. Yeah. I mean,
Um,
highest NIL funding in the American will get that for you.
Yeah, so
Ryan
I
Hartline taking over that program, by the way. It's crazy, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, did you guys see that? Ohio
Maybe I did.
State's.
Oh, I did see that. I
OC
did see
and
that.
wide
Yes,
receiver
yes.
coach.
That offense is going to be good for a few more years once
Yeah.
again.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm going to take North Texas.
Hey.
What's the
I
score?
will say the score is probably not going to be much different from y'all because I thought it was going to be different
Based on what
you had
I
said.
understand.
I see the separation being 10 points.
Okay.
So I'd go like 38-28,
Okay.
34-24. North Texas, did they kick a field goal against Temple?
I know they didn't punt.
Yeah, they didn't punt.
I think we
they
did.
kick a field?
I
I
think it
want
was
to say we
kicked
did.
one,
Yeah,
right?
I think we kicked one.
Shout out
Yeah, so
Callie to
you
go
got to
off.
factor in. I would say factor in like one field goal. I don't think there's going to be a lot of leg action in this one. So yeah, I'd
Leg
go-
action.
I mean, either way. I mean, literally, Sawyer Evans didn't punt, which is
Shout out Sawyer,
Yeah.
man.
So, anywho, yeah,
Yeah, so
10-point
Alright.
separation. Some North Texas gets in the 30s.
Okay, North
we
Texas,
are all
though.
UNT fans. Can't blame them for picking South Florida.
Yeah, well, when we get to the playoffs, now we'll have to pick.
Oh boy.
North Texas.
I want North
We're
Texas over
beating Ole
Georgia.
Miss. No. But yes,
Oh,
yeah.
man.
Are you guys excited? You get to head to New Orleans. I
Yeah,
wanted
we
to
leave
drive.
tomorrow.
You do leave tomorrow.
Yes,
Yeah.
we do. Ian will miss you very greatly.
I know. I was trying to plan a drive there with some of my buddies, but it was supposed to. No.
No, we can't
Not
do
The
this
dreaded
again.
sound.
I'm-
It's
I-
about to wrap up,
don't
and
worry.
stay with
I'm
us.
taking the
Don't
charger
leave.
off. I'm taking
Yeah.
the charger out. Let me check.
That dreaded sound. Yeah, I was trying to plan something with my buddies, but then it was supposed to rain, and it's Friday before finals
Yeah.
week. It's like, we're just going to sit in his apartment, watch pizza, and not drive 7
Watch
hours.
pizza?
Eat pizza and watch the game. English is hard.
I get it.
No.
No. I mean, I think every UNT fan should obviously. I think the message all year, because we kind of knew the writing was on the wall in terms of Drew leaving, Caleb leaving, Coach Morris leaving. The message all year has been enjoy the moment, but
Yep.
truly enjoy the moment. Like this is going to be either John Summerall or Eric Morris's final American Conference game. And then obviously we talked about the scenarios. If they lose this game, does Eric Morris want to? He'll stay for the bowl game, obviously. But I think things just progress a lot faster than if they make it to the college football playoffs, and that's going to happen like a month from now. Not a month from now, but like weeks from now. UNT fans enjoy every moment. You're on ABC.
We're on ABC.
Oh, yeah.
ABC. Like
I was watching drone shots of Denton of UNT campus on ESPN during the
Yeah,
Temple game. I was
man.
like, oh, we made it. We've so made it.
This
We're
is
so
here we
here.
are. Yeah, Cameron Dorner was talking about how the other guys tell him all the time, like, this is not how it was 2 years ago.
You came at a good time.
He gave it a good time. So did Haylie.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah.
I was like, me and Cameron Dorner are the same.
But yes, I'm super excited for New Orleans. I'm determined to eat a beignet. I've been told that we have to eat a fried oyster at some point. I've been told that we have to do everything under the sun in our 2 days.
Justin, there was some rumors of Justin wanting to eat alligator.
Oh, yeah.
while we
Alligator's
were
so
in New
good.
Orleans.
Come
Have you had
on.
fried
Come on.
alligator?
I have not. I do not
Alligator's good.
venture very far when it comes to
Will you try it?
me trying. No,
What if
no.
we should
No.
we should come back on this podcast?
It's good.
If Tu-
Pastry.
Try it.
Yes.
if Tulane
Other
wins,
forms of poultry. No.
Haley, walk with me. Walk with me. We can even cut this out. If Tulane wins, will you eat alligator on this podcast?
It would depend on the form of which the alligator was cooked.
Fried alligator.
Fried alligator
From Papa Do's.
On the podcast.
On the
on
pod.
the podcast.
Yeah, I'll do anything for us to go to college football playoff. Give me some fried alligator. I will
Well,
eat it on the podcast.
I just want fried
Drew
alligator.
Messamaker, Caleb Hawkins, I know you're watching. Let this motivate you to beat the crap out of the Green Wave.
Motivation. Yes. So exciting. Such an exciting week. But we have been on long enough. It's been super fun this semester, guys. Hopefully another episode maybe. If we win this game, probably another episode coming out next week covering that playoff. Basketball is also happening, but you know what? That happens a lot next semester too, and we'll get into that. Thank you guys for watching this episode of the Daily Sports Report podcast and this semester. It's been a fun semester. It's
been great.
We will see you guys in whatever new episode comes out over these next couple of weeks. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.